It's 6:17 every morning when you do the same math. Rent, $1,450. Minimum payments, $380. Groceries, gas, and bills, another $720. Then you look at your paycheck and see the gap. Not much is left. You are staring at the numbers again when your phone lights up. A credit card reminder. Payment due tomorrow. You lock the screen. For a few seconds, you sit completely still. Then you make a decision you tell no one. You are not going to earn your way out by simply working harder. You are going to change where your money goes before it disappears. Nothing looks different that morning. You still go to work. You still answer the same emails. You still sit at the same desk. But inside your head, something has shifted. Because escaping the rat race does not always begin with quitting your job or becoming rich overnight. Sometimes it begins quietly, with a few numbers moving in a different direction. No applause, no big announcement, just a private decision that slowly changes everything. The first week, you do not try to change your whole life. You start with something almost too small to matter. You open your bank statement and find a $14.99 streaming subscription you barely use. You remember signing up for it months ago. At the time, $14.99 felt harmless. You cancel it. That is it. No dramatic budget, no new side hustle. Just $14.99 staying in your account instead of leaving it. The second week, you look at your paycheck differently. You normally let the entire amount land in your checking account, then spend whatever remains after the bills. This time, you reroute just 3% before you touch it. On a $3,500 monthly take-home pay, that is $105. Not $1,000, not half your paycheck, just $105. You place it in a separate savings account and leave it alone. At first, the number looks almost silly, but that is exactly why it works. Big goals can scare you into doing nothing. Small moves give your brain proof that change is possible. The third week, you make another boring decision. Your phone upgrade is due. The newest model costs $900. Your current phone still works. The screen is fine. The battery is not perfect, but it gets you through the day, so you keep it. You do not save $900 in one dramatic move. You simply refuse to spend it. By the end of 3 weeks, nothing about your life looks impressive. You canceled $14.99. You redirected $105. You avoided a $900 upgrade. But together, those choices send a message. Your money no longer has permission to leave just because it can. And that is where the escape begins. Not with a huge amount of money, but with learning to control the small amounts first. You do not tell anyone, not your partner, not your roommate, not your closest friends. If someone asks how money is going, you simply say, "I'm fine." Because saying, "I'm trying to get out," feels strangely dangerous. What if you fail? What if you tell everyone you are finally getting ahead, then 3 months later your account is empty again? Worse, what if people start asking questions? How much have you saved? Are you still doing that money thing? Didn't you say you were going to be debt-free? You can already imagine the pressure. So you keep it quiet. There is another reason too. Your friends are used to the version of you who says yes. Dinner after work, a weekend trip, a new pair of shoes, a quick order because nobody wants to cook. You are not trying to become better than them. You are simply trying to stop living the same financial week over and over. And sometimes, explaining that choice makes it harder. Silence gives you room to make mistakes. You can save $105 one week and only $40 the next without having to explain yourself. You can change your plan without feeling embarrassed. You can learn what works without turning your progress into a public promise. This matters because money is not only math, it is behavior, and behavior changes more easily when you are not performing it for other people. So you keep the plan private. Every Friday, you check the numbers. No announcement, no celebration, just another small amount staying where it belongs. Nobody notices. That is exactly how you want it. By the 4th week, you finally see a number that feels real, $412. It is not enough to change your life. Your rent is still $1,450. Your credit card balance is still there. Your car still needs fuel. Monday morning still comes, whether you feel ready or not. Nothing around you has changed. But that $412 is different, because you know exactly where it came from. Part of it came from the subscription you canceled, part came from the 3% you stopped spending, and part came from the extra shift you picked up on Saturday. You look at the balance twice, then a third time. For years, you thought getting ahead required a huge raise, a better job, or some lucky break. Now you have proof that something else can work. Small decisions can create space. The important part is not the $412 itself. It is what the number tells you. Your money can stay. That sounds simple, but it changes the way you think. Before, every paycheck felt like a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Money came in, bills came out, and somehow the bucket was empty again. Now you have started closing the hole. The strange part is that nobody notices. You still drive the same car. You still live in the same apartment. You still sit at the same desk at work. If someone passed you on the street, they would see no difference. But you see it. For the first time, the math is moving in your favor, and once you see that, you become willing to protect the next dollar. The biggest change does not show up in your bank account. It shows up in your head. You stop needing people to notice. Before, every money choice felt like something you had to explain. If you skipped dinner, you had a reason. If you kept your old phone, you had to explain why. If you said no to a weekend trip, you worried people would think you were struggling. Now you simply say, "No, I'm good," and you move on. Your spending decisions become quieter. You walk into a store and see a jacket you like. Before, you might have asked, "Can I afford this?" Now you ask a better question. Does this help where I'm trying to go? If the answer is no, you put it back. No debate, no guilt, no long speech in your head. You are learning that every dollar has a job, even when that job is doing nothing today so it can protect you tomorrow. That is when your identity starts to change. You are no longer someone who hopes there will be enough left at the end of the month. You are becoming someone who decides what stays before the month gets busy. And that difference matters. Because discipline is not about constantly fighting yourself. Real discipline makes the decision once, then makes the next decision easier. You stop chasing the feeling of looking successful. You start caring about becoming financially free. Nobody sees the change. Your friends still see the same person. Your coworkers still see the same employee. But you know something they do not. You are no longer trying to prove that you are doing well. You are quietly building the ability to leave the race. It happens on a Tuesday night. You are sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the same notebook you have been using for weeks. Your partner walks in and notices the numbers. You've been doing something with your money, haven't you? For a moment, you think about hiding it. Instead, you take a breath. "I'm trying to get out." The words feel heavier than you expected. You explain everything: the canceled subscription, the 3%, the phone you decided not to upgrade, the $412 sitting untouched. You even admit the part you were afraid to say. "I don't know how long this will take. I just know I can't keep living like this." Your partner stays quiet for a few seconds. Then comes the question you did not expect. "How can I help?" That simple sentence changes something. For weeks, the plan had been yours alone. Every choice depended on your own willpower. Now it becomes shared. You agree on one rule. Before either of you makes a large purchase, you talk about it first. Not to ask for permission, to protect the bigger goal. The next grocery trip feels different. You compare prices together. You skip a few things you normally would have bought. And nobody feels punished. You are both working toward the same number. That night, you realize something important. Keeping your goal private helped you start. Sharing it with the right person helps you continue. You no longer feel like you are fighting your old life alone. You have someone sitting beside you, looking at the same map. And for the first time, getting out feels less like a secret escape and more like a shared mission. 3 weeks later, the plan is tested. It starts with a sound you know immediately, a sharp grinding noise from your car. You pull into a repair shop after work. The mechanic checks it and gives you the number, $680. Your stomach drops. You have been building your savings slowly. Now one repair could erase most of it. For a few minutes, you think about quitting. What is the point of saving if one bad day can take it all? You could put the repair on your credit card and keep your savings untouched. That would feel easier. But you know what happens next. The balance grows. Interest grows with it. And the problem you worked so hard to escape comes back through the front door. So you do something different. You bend the plan without breaking it. You use $500 from your savings and put the remaining $180 on your card, knowing you can clear it with your next paycheck. For the next 2 weeks, you pause the 3% redirect. You also skip eating out and pick up one extra shift. The plan slows down. It does not stop. That distinction matters. You finally understand that a financial system is not supposed to survive only when life goes perfectly. It has to survive real life. Cars break, bills appear, plans change. The goal is not to avoid every setback. The goal is to stop one setback from becoming a complete collapse. 2 weeks later, the card is paid. Your savings balance is lower than before, but you are still moving forward, and that feels better than having a perfect plan that breaks the first time life gets expensive. Month 8 is when the numbers finally change shape. Until then, your paycheck is still doing most of the work. Then your side income starts to grow. You have been taking small freelance jobs on weekends. Nothing impressive, a few writing projects, some simple work for local businesses. You keep the money separate and leave it alone. That month, the side work brings in $1,050. Your main paycheck is still $3,500. But something important has happened. For the first time, your side income equals 30% of your monthly take-home pay, and your savings balance reaches $4,860. You do the math again. Your regular paycheck pays the bills. Your side income builds the escape. That is the crossing point. Not because you suddenly feel rich, because the numbers now prove that your survival depends less on one source of income. Before, losing your job meant panic. Now, losing your job would still hurt, but it would not mean starting from zero. That difference is the whole point. Financial freedom rarely arrives like a door swinging open. It is more like a bridge being built one piece at a time. At first, the bridge cannot carry you. Then one day, you realize it can carry part of your weight. Month 8 is that day for you. 30%. That is the number you write in your notebook. Not "I feel better." Not "I think I'm getting ahead." 30%. For the first time, the math is stronger than the fear. It is 6:17 again. You are sitting at the same kitchen table where this started. The room is quiet. Your coffee is getting cold. Your phone is beside you. Months ago, this was the moment when you opened your banking app and started counting what was left. Rent, minimum payments, groceries, gas. Then the gap. You remember how heavy that number used to feel. Today you open the same app, but you are not looking for what is missing. You are looking at what you built. Your savings has reached $10,240. Your credit card balance is gone. Your side income now covers about 40% of your basic monthly expenses. Nothing about the room has changed. Same table, same coffee, same phone. But you have changed the math. At 8:52, you sit in your car outside work. You have been thinking about this moment for weeks. You could resign today. That is the point. You have options now. So instead of making a dramatic decision, you walk into your manager's office and ask for a 4-day work week. Your manager looks surprised. You explain that you have built another source of income and want one extra day each week to grow it. There is no speech, no applause, no movie-style ending. You sign the new schedule. Then you walk back to your desk. That is your exit. Not from work completely. Not yet. But from the belief that your paycheck controls every part of your life. For the first time, you have created space between earning money and depending on one paycheck. And that space gives you something money alone cannot give you: choice. You can say no, you can wait. You can walk away from a bad situation without wondering how you will pay next month's rent. That freedom was not created in one morning. It was built quietly. It started with $14.99, then $105. Then the $900 phone you did not buy, then $412. Small choices that looked almost pointless when you made them. But small choices repeated long enough can become a system, and a system can change your life. That is the part people often miss. They think escaping the rat race means making one giant move. Quit the job, start the business, move to another city, become rich. But sometimes the smartest escape looks almost boring. You simply stop leaking money. You build a small second source of income. You keep more of what you earn. You make fewer decisions based on what other people think. Then one day, you look around and realize you are no longer trapped in the same place. Nobody saw it happen. There was no announcement, no viral post, no crowd cheering, just numbers moving quietly while everyone else was looking somewhere else. And now, you are standing at the same question that started this story. If you kept living exactly as you do today, but quietly changed where your money goes, where could you be 1 year from now? Maybe your escape does not need to be loud. Maybe it only needs to begin. And maybe tonight, when you look at your own numbers, the first move is smaller than you think.